Peace, it's Equalityfragrances coming to you from Prince George's County, Maryland. Welcome to my cipher. A cipher is a person, place, a thing within my circumference. The understanding of my cipher is peace. For all those new to the channel and those who have been supporting me since day one, I humbly appreciate all your support. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you'll be notified when I drop some new videos. Share the video to anybody who you think may find my content entertaining or informative. With that being said, thank you for all that you have, your kind words, inbox messages. I appreciate it all, which is why I try to reply to all the comments. With that being said, come on in, sit down, and let's build. Today, I'll be giving you, and I know it's a little late, my top 10 winter fragrances 2020. I know it's 2021, but the winter starts in 2020. Being a reviewer is really kind of sucks, and especially if you are a large or you have a large collection, because I'm always testing things and always have stuff on. Sometimes I don't always get to grab for stuff that I would like to grab for. I can probably count on two hands how many times I wore the same fragrance more than twice in a whole year. And I wear multiple fragrances throughout the day. So that gives you an idea that really I just have too many fragrances, and that's just not a humble brag. That is actually sad in the grand scheme of things. I'm gonna be honest. You don't ever wanna be like that. I don't ever want y'all to be that way. I'm being totally honest. Don't go down that path. Anyway, these are the fragrances ranked on what I would like to grab for the most had I had the opportunity to grab for stuff. This is my list. Don't take offense to it. If my honorable mention is your number one, that's fine. If you don't see your favorite on my list, that's fine. Don't take it personal. This is going to be the niche list. I'm going to do a designer list, but this is a niche list. So with that being said, let's start off with the two honorable mentions. Honorable mention number one is a fragrance. I was the conductor of the hype train on this fragrance. This fragrance was setting on like Fragrance Net and Fragrance Buy for like years. I literally looked at it for a year and a half before I pulled the trigger on it. And soon as I did a review on it, it sold out. It's hard to find. I would not pay hundreds of dollars for it. I'm not going to recommend you do that. If it comes back and you can get it for around the $50, $60, I think is what I paid for it, you should definitely jump on it. And that's from the house of Compure Pacifique, and that's Rum Tobac. Now, this fragrance is probably up there with my top rum fragrance within my collection. What does it smell like? It smells very similar to Initio Side Effect. No, it's not a clone. A Side Effect in this came out in the same year. This is doing its own thing. It's a little bit more boozy, a little bit more rummy, but you have tobacco, you have patchouli, you have rum, you have bergamot. This reminds me of the Caribbean, like I'm in the Dominican Republic. Puerto Plata, drinking some house rum, smoking a good cigar. That's what this reminds me of. Outstanding fragrance. If you can get your nose on it, if you can buy it, it's worth the purchase. Performance, check, 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 and check. So with that being said, my honorable mention number one, Rum Tobac. Honorable mention number two comes from the house of Killian, and that's Angel Shares. Now, I know this is going to be in most people's top five. I get that, and I understand why they would do that. For me, it's just not something I would grab for as much. Maybe during November, December months, I would probably grab for it more than often. It's a crowd-pleasing fragrance, very warm, inviting, delicious. It's a good fragrance, just didn't crack what I would like to personally reach for on a constant basis had I had a condensed fragrance collection. Overall, it's not too boozy. The boozy aspect is really in the background. Sometimes I don't even want to consider this a boozy fragrance. Overall, you get some sweetness to it. You have some woodiness to it with the oak, some praline. It's overall a good, sweet, mass appealing fragrance, great for date night, but it's my honorable mention number two. Starting off the show at number 10 is a fragrance that will always be in my winter list as long as I own it. That's coming from the house of Navitus Parfums, and that's Absolucio. Now, I really like the Baccarat Rouge DNA. I hate the way the saffron is because it comes off like a hospital kind of thing. But I'm more of a fan of the extrait than the EDP. I personally can't stand the EDP. I don't really care who's wearing it. It's nauseating to me. But the extrait with that added sweetness and almond to it is just absolutely fantastic. This gives me that extrait vibe But, and this might be blasphemous to some people, I like this better. Because one, I don't get the hospital vibe. And then this goes in a different direction. You get this cherry, this slight cherry feel to it that comes from the cherry almond on top of apple, some toffee, some cinnamon, saffron. You get woodiness with the oak moss, driftwood, a little musk. Now, this is supposed to have chocolate in it. I bought this when it first came out. I still have not experienced the chocolate within this fragrance, but it's probably there to round out the sweetness of the overall fragrance. Other than that, this is a 10 out of 10 fragrance for me. It performs highly compliment. The first year I had it, I wore it a lot when testing it. Highly complimented. One of at least my top 10 complimented fragrances within my collection. Easily. And it performs like a champ 10 plus hours. Coming in at number 10 is Navitus Parfums Absolucio. Coming in at number 9 is a fragrance I absolutely adore. If somebody came to me and said, Equality, like, I want to get into niche, but I don't really know where to start. If you can just give me one fragrance, one house that I should buy on my first purchase, I will always recommend this fragrance 24/7. And that's from the house of Xerjoff, and that's Knax. Beautiful composition. That lavender and the citrus up top gives it a really light, almost bright nuance to the composition. Honey, cinnamon, tonka, vanilla, tobacco. I know a lot of people consider this a honey tobacco scent. I really personally don't. I consider it a honey tonka scent because those are the two most dominating nuances or notes or character within this fragrance that I pick up off of my skin. The tobacco is there, but that honey and tonka is absolutely amazing. Fall and winter, this is a killer. Nobody will not like this. Nobody. You might find one person, but everybody loves this. Everybody. So coming in at number 9 is Knax by Xerjoff. Coming in at number 8 is a fragrance that I did a first impressions on. I own the male and female counterpart to this fragrance. And the more and more I wore this, the more and more I respected it, the more and more I loved it. And that's coming from the house of Ombre, and that's Overture Man. This is a mature fragrance. If you in your 20s and you're dating women in your 20s, this ain't for you. You're going to smell like their uncles in them. You just are. This is a man's fragrance. This is dark, mysterious. It has some sweetness to it, but not that like bubble gum sweetness. If you're a connoisseur of drinking top shelf bourbons, whiskeys, cognacs, you're gonna appreciate when I say the sweetness. Some people would drink that and it's too bitter to them. When I drink stuff like that, I can taste the sweetness in it with the dried fruits, the woodiness, sometimes a little caramel, some nuttiness to the composition when you taste a really good cognac. I get that kind of sweetness out of this. You get this leathery nuance, which probably comes from labdanum. It's woody, a little smoky, a masculine scent. This is a man's scent. This is not going to be for everybody. This is something to sample because it's rather expensive. I like this. I like this a lot. Coming in at number 8 is Overture Man. At number 7 is borderline a grail. My second favorite amber that I have ever put my nose on, and that's over Amber Absolute. That's over Ombre Aria. That's over Grand Soir. Grand Soir ain't even in the same class to me personally. But that's a good fragrance. Don't think I'm disrespecting it. I own it. This, I believe, is the first amber to ever come out. This was in 1988. That's a good enough introduction for this. That's from the house of Majestic Parfumer et Gantier Ombre Perso. When you close your eyes and you think of what amber is, this is the epitome of it. If you looked in a dictionary, this would be it. Amber, ambergris, myrrh, nutmeg, lavender, Tolu balsam, Peru balsam. It's a little slightly animalic, smoky, thick, resinous. This is a pushes out. It's not, I wouldn't consider it beast mode as far as a room filler, but people, this will leave a scent trail. This is a cold weather fragrance. I love it. I'm not going to go on and on about it because it's not an overall review. Coming in number 7 is Ombre Proso. Coming in number 6 comes from a fragrance house that I have more than any other house within my collection. Y'all already know what that is. That's from the house of Majestic. This is a 2020 release. This fragrance is climbing up to my second favorite Majestic within my collection. This is Saharan Wind. This is what Imperial Armani Stronger With You leather wanted to be. This has that Stronger With You DNA. So if you like that DNA, you will love this. And that's that Oriental Fougere DNA. This is leather. Pink pepper, some bergamot, some lavender. I'm getting some coumarin, maybe a little nutmeg in there because it's spicy. So I'm getting maybe some coumarin, some nutmeg, lavender. You also get leather, ambery base. So it is a Oriental Fougere. It wears dry. This is a great date night scent, a first date scent. It has a little sweetness, but not overly sweet. Again, if you love the Stronger With You DNA, you will love this. This is what Stronger With You leather wanted to be. I'm gonna give y'all a full review on this within the next 72 hours because this is absolutely an amazing crowd-pleasing fragrance. And that's one thing I like about the house being a niche house. A lot of their fragrances are extremely crowd-pleasing. So with number 6, that's Saharan Wind. Coming in number 5 is an amazing fragrance house. The compositions they put out is the epitome of what niche perfumery is. Natural smelling don't mean they don't use synthetics. Transitional fragrance, multifaceted. That comes from the house of Frederick Malle, and that's Promise. You will smell this and think that maybe fall and winter is when you should wear this. I wore this last summer, and it just, you don't need a lot of sprays. Let's start there. Performance is up there. You don't need a lot of sprays. What you get is this warm, boozy, spicy apple liqueur up top. The texture is a little brown and oily. You get this woodiness to it, almost like a oak barrel kind of woodiness. When you smell or drink a good double cask whiskey, that kind of woodiness, I get that here. Oh man. No booze is listed, but if I did a boozy list, this would easily be in the top 5 of my boozy fragrances within my collection. An amazing scent. One you should sample. It's not crowd pleasing, but man, it's transitional. The way it wears different in the summer than in the winter. Some people consider this the best from the house. I can't speak to that because I don't have enough experience within that house. But this is a love at first buy, at first sniff. Everything about this fragrance is absolutely amazing. A 10 out of 10 fragrance. That's Promise from Frederick Malle. Coming in number 4 comes from a house that has been hyped as of recently as last year. This fragrance is absolutely amazing. I've discussed this fragrance twice. Yes, it's similar to another fragrance from the same perfumer, but nevertheless, this is a good one. A complimented fragrance, and if I did a chocolate list, this would easily be in my top 10. That comes from the house of BDK, and that's Tobac Rose. This really should be called Rose Tobac. Chocolate, dark, just mouth-watering chocolate. A fruity rose, which comes from the plum and I believe some lemon, some pink pepper, and it makes it like an aromatic, spicy, fruity rose. and some woodiness with the tobacco and patchouli. This smells absolutely magnificent off of skin. Now, this is similar to Rose Rouge by Van Cleef & Arpels. The same perfumer did both. Rose Rouge is more, I can wear that year round. This is one, because of the density of it, I would wear it more in the cooler weather. But this is good. If you haven't got your nose on it or sampled it, you really should. Some would say this might be the best from the house. That's Tobac Rose from BDK. Coming in at number 3 is a fragrance. I was the first one on YouTube to review this fragrance. This is from an independent fragrance house, a black-owned fragrance house. I describe this fragrance as sex in a bottle. And what kind of sex? I'm talking dirty, filthy, parking lot sex. This is the long stroke. This is unisex. This is a woman who smells like this, wants to be on top, and she wants to take your soul. Magnificent. That's come from the house of Savoir Faire. That is Soul Cafe. Hey. Oh, man. If I go out and I'm looking to meet a woman, a first date scent, first impressions, I'm wearing this. This might be my number one. I'm going to do a list, so I'm not going to tell you what that list is going to be. But this is so amazing. Like, there's a reason this doesn't stay in stock. I'll leave a link in the description on where you can buy it from, because it's not you can only buy it from them. It's not like you can get it from a discounter or something. But this has some blood orange in there, a little bit of smoky. It's woody. I think firewood might be in here. Some tobacco. I believe some peppers in here, so it's a slightly spicy. It's sweet, almost like a honey tobacco, but really not. In that blood orange up top. Oh my God. This is eroticism. Yeah. This is BDE. Big Dick Energy. Absolutely. Savoir Faire Soul Cafe. Coming in at number 2 is an exclusive fragrance. Oftentimes hard to acquire, but based on a new policy from this exclusive where you can only buy this from, they do ship to the States. This is the best leather fragrance I have ever put my nose on. But equality. What about Tuscan leather? Ombre leather. Those are cute, but this is in a class of its own. This is a Harrods exclusive. This is Armani Privé Cure Majestic. This, they finally got them in a 50 ml, because I do not need a 250 ml bottle, which is going to run you like almost $400 to $500. I didn't need it. This is expensive, but it's worth the price of admission. Dried fruits, some smoke, that rose and leather combination. I believe tobacco's in here. Some oud, ambroxan, patchouli. You see the bottle? It's all black. This is mysterious, sexy, alluring. It's dark, but not really dark. A great first date scent. I'm not going to tell you where it's going to rank on the list. Well, I will. It'll probably be number 1 or number 2. It needs its own review. Armani Privé's Cure Majesty. Coming in at number 1 is a fragrance. I am the conductor, the bus driver, and I am the orchestrator of this plane ride. I am the captain. Boarding passes, please. Come aboard. If your favorite reviewer isn't talking about this fragrance, we're going to take off and we're leaving. Get on board or not. That's up to you, but we're heading to paradise. This comes from the house of Les Indemudables. This is Vanille Havane. People, oh my God. Date night is going to be there. It's going to be there. What you get is booziness, chocolatey, tobacco, ambery, leathery. The best way to describe this, to simplify it, is, because I did a full review, is take Creation E or Enigma and add some chocolate, and more like the chocolate you get from Noir Aphrodisiac, a very romantic chocolate. This bangs, man. 10 out of 10 fragrance. My favorite boozy fragrance within my collection. All aboard. The flight will leave soon. Get you some. Number 1, Vanille Havane. That was my top 10 niche fragrances that I wish I can reach for more often in the winter 2020/21. If your favorite fragrance isn't here, that's fine. These aren't per se necessarily ranked by what I like better than others. It's what I would want or would like to have reached for more than others if I'm not always testing fragrances. But in coming and trying to think of different videos and things I can give y'all. Great fragrances, try them, sample everything, don't blind buy nothing. Well, some things like Your Majesty, you just gotta blind buy. You gotta take my word on that. Stunning. Anyway, y'all already know. I'm gonna leave you the way I greeted you, and that's in universal language of peace.